Well, hello and welcome to another Morning Jumpstart. I'm so glad to have you here with me today. If you're new here, I just want to give you a quick welcome as well and introduce myself. My name is Shalisa. And in today's video, I want to talk about our relationships with people and in particular our inner circle and how to identify whether relationships are serving you in the place that you're going to be going or whether it's time to take a step back from certain relationships. So we're going to talk about that today, coming up next. I saw this quote and I thought it was really interesting because you can take one word and completely change the meaning of a sentence. And the quote goes, "You can't change the people around you, but you can change the people around you. You can't change the people around you, but you can change the people around you." I don't know who wrote this quote, but it's pretty spot on if you ask me. And in my last video, we talked about relationships, right? And the importance of actually having a social life and prioritizing time with the people that you love, especially during the times that are so difficult in our world today. And so if you missed that, I want to invite you to go ahead and watch that after this so that you can catch up on that. But in today's video, I want to talk about how we're going to be able to identify toxic relationships and really what to do with that. How do you identify that? What are some areas that you can look at the people in your inner circle and determine whether these relationships are going to be good for you going into your future and going into what it is that God has planned for your life next? So relationships, as we know, they can either add value to your life or they can keep you really from living the life that you were destined to live, that life that God has really set aside for you with purpose. And there's many ways that they keep us from that life, and I'm going to talk about that. But you and I, we were designed to go on a growth journey through this life, right? To be continually growing and learning and getting better and being better. So in the Word of God, it talks about how we're meant to go from glory to glory, right? So we're not going from glory to struggle to glory. Yes, there are difficult times, but glory to glory to glory, right? That's what we're talking about here. So every relationship that you have with another person has an influence. We know this, and it can be a good influence or it can be a bad influence. You may remember growing up whenever your parents would tell you, hey, so-and-so I really think is a bad influence on you. So it can go either way, right? Good influences and bad influences. And in the case of a bad influence, I'm not necessarily saying that these certain people are bad people, but it could just be that the relationship is not a good fit. Some people just aren't designed to go together, and that's okay. So I want to also kind of break that down in a way that's easy to understand, because sometimes we think that everybody can be your friend. I know I've been guilty of that. Like, I can be everybody's friend. But the truth is that we're not meant to be everybody's friend. So think of it this way. I want you to look at your story individually, and I want you to think of each and every moment as if it's a fabric, okay? So this fabric is being created and woven together into a really beautiful story that is you, okay? And there are those people who are meant to be in that beautiful picture, right? And let's also imagine that you are in a close relationship with somebody whose life is like a fire. And it's a beautiful fire, could be, right? Because fires can be a good thing, and they can be used for keeping you warm whenever it's cold. They can be used for consuming things and burning things away, for refinement. But fires can also consume in a bad way, right? So if you combine fire with this picture, with this fabric, what's going to happen? The fabric is going to be burned up, And that is just the way that it is. So I want you to think about that whenever we're talking about today's topic, and just really understanding how people can be either a right fit or just not. And again, that's okay. So toxic relationships, there are a few different types that I want to talk about. So the first one I want to talk about is the type of toxic relationship that really drains you. So this type of person, they probably do have a lot of work that they still need to do on themselves. And that is okay. That's a good thing. But these types of people can also be the type of people that they always have problems. They're always calling you for advice. They're always calling you to vent. They're always calling you because they need something from you. So it's like every time that their phone number pops up or their name pops up and they've texted you or called you and you're like, okay, well, what do they need now? They just drain you. They just are kind of an energy zap. So when you've spent your time out at brunch with them, you just leave that time together feeling exhausted and feeling like you are empty. That is one type of toxic relationship that either needs to be limited. And these types of relationships, that is up to you to determine whether you need to cut them out or limit your time with them. But this may be the type of relationship that you really, really limit space with and protect your peace, right? So that is one type. The next type that I want to talk about is the type of toxic relationship that really doesn't align with your values. So these types of people, they are normally very opinionated, right? So they have their own set of values and morals and things that are important to them, but they also don't really respect your values. They don't respect your space. So whenever there's a topic in conversation or whatever, they may not be able to really understand your side. They may be argumentative type of people. That's just a few examples, but whenever you don't align with someone's values, and that's not to say that you can't have some disagreements. That's pretty normal, right? But whenever people just flat out don't respect your values, they think that you are ridiculous for the things that you believe. That's just a few examples, but you really can't get on certain topics without completely a blowout happening, or something like that. So these types of relationships, if they're not aligning with your values, how can they align with the place that God is taking you in this next season? How can they be supportive of the things that God wants to do in your life if they can't get on board with some of the more simple things that are important to you? So in these types of relationships, it may be important to draw the line and just say, either we're not going to talk about these topics, or this is the type of relationship that I really need to reconsider having in my inner circle and having in my, in the people that are really supposed to be cheering you on and helping you get where you want to go. So that's another type of relationship to identify. The next toxic relationship really is the type that points out your weaknesses. So they're very critical of you. They might even be borderline judgmental, and they just can't be happy for you. They can't be supportive of you. Everything that you do, it's like they have to find a fault in it. So there's something wrong. Either your outfit was totally off, or your hair is out of place, or whatever it is, they're very critical. There's always something wrong. And there is a point where criticism can be a good thing, right? There is healthy criticisms where somebody really truly does want to see the best out of you. But there's other types that are, let's be honest, they are more jealous types of people. And so those people, they tend to not like anything that you do. And it's like they can talk about their successes all day long, but the moment that you start talking about yours, they don't want to hear about it. So to be honest with you, you may have known them all your life, and you may have put up with it, and you may have just appeased them to this point. I don't know. But those are the type of relationship that can really, really hinder your growth. So that is the type of relationship that I would really, really recommend evaluating and determining whether this is the type of relationship that you want to take into this next phase of your life. The other type of toxic relationship is the type of people that are manipulative. All right, it's their way or the highway. So in certain situations, you may have been doing things just to appease them because, they need to have the control. It has to be their way, just like I said. So the importance here is that you should never really be put in a type of situation where you are not in control of your own actions, where someone is dictating to you how you need to do things. Someone else is telling you what to do and how to do it. And this is not, like in a job type of scenario, but this is just in, like a friendship circle or whatever. I've had an experience where I had a falling out with somebody, and there was a moment where, I honestly didn't feel like I was wrong. They didn't feel like they were wrong, but I was like, I want to make this right. So I came with an apology, and I sent this through text message, but this text message was not a good enough apology. This particular person wanted one in person to their face, or they weren't going to accept my apology. So that's just an example of a way that is someone trying to manipulate how they want the outcome, that whether it was, which in my case, I was truly coming with an apology. It wasn't just, hey, I'm sorry. I was truly coming up with an apology on my part. And it wasn't the type of apology that she necessarily wanted. So those types of relationships, it's never good enough, okay? Because it has to be their way and you don't have a say. These types of relationships, they are extremely toxic, and the type of relationship that I really wouldn't recommend continuing on, because they are in a place in their life where I feel like manipulative people don't have control, so they feel like they have to control and manipulate situations and people. So those are the types of people that I would sincerely recommend leaving at a distance or completely cutting off altogether. So another type of relationship is the type of toxic relationship that consists of drama. Okay, these types of people are always full of excuses why they weren't able to show up for you. A lot of times they're gossipers because they just feed off of drama. So anything that's happening in someone else's life, they want to talk about it. So these conversations with the people that are telling you these stories, even though you might feel in that moment like, hey, you're really good friends with them, and there's no chance that they're talking about you. They're just telling you the stories about their life. I can guarantee you that if it's happening with you, that it's also happening about you. Because people that are full of drama, a lot of times they'll try to even pull stories out of you just so that they can go and talk about it. They're not a concerned friend, to be honest with you. A lot of times they will come off that way, like, tell me about it. Tell me what is going on so, I can help you. They want to get the information. Okay, they're looking for the 411. But a lot of times these types of relationships, they just want to talk about you. They just want a reason to dislike you. They just want a reason to gossip. Okay, let's just be honest. So these types of people, they're really, unfortunately, not the type of people who are looking to really help. And they're not the type of people that are actually looking to give advice. They're normally just there to get the drama, to get the information from you. So these are another type of relationship that you need to determine in your life, because gossip, I'm telling you, gossip is such a bad thing. It's such a bad thing. God is very serious about his people. He's very serious about the way that we're seen and the light that we're seen in. And I get it that we all struggle, that we all have hard times. And it's important that we're kind of fighting in the right type of people, because there are certain people who want to look like they care, but the moment that you start opening up about the things that are going on in your life is the moment that everybody else is going to learn about it. So just be careful with those types of relationships. Some of these relationships can be friends, they can be family, they can be people that have been in your life forever. but you may need to maintain distance with some of these relationships. So that is really up to you to evaluate and make the type of clear boundaries that are going to be healthy for you. Limit time that is spent with them. But I also want to invite you to remember who you are, okay? You are God's chosen. So it's important for you to continue to be kind to them and from the heart, and to really truly love at a distance, right? But yeah, these are the type of the relationships that you need to look at. The type that steal your peace, the type that aren't adding any value to your life. In fact, they cause you to surrender your values and the things that are important to you to appease them. These are very toxic types of relationships. So evaluate these. And I feel like you just also need to know that it's not loving. It's not love, okay? It's not love to stay in these relationships for either one of you. It's not loving to yourself, and it's not loving to them. So think about that and feed your life with things and with people that allow you to grow, that feed your soul, that just light your spirit up. These types of relationships are what we're designed to have, and we thrive in those types of situations. So you need to be supported, and you need to be encouraged and feel good about those relationships that are benefiting in your life. All right, so your inner circle is very important. Who you're going to allow in this place and time in your life is very important. And make sure that you find good relationships that really allow you to thrive, because that's what you were designed to do. And plant seeds. I want to invite you to do that. Plant seeds in new relationships too. If you feel like a lot of the people that you're surrounded with now maybe aren't going to serve you where you're going, start to look at new relationships with people that you can plant seeds in. And I know making friends sometimes can be hard, but I will tell you that whenever you put that effort forth and you really allow yourself to be open with some people that you feel like, it's hard to explain, because it's like there's this inner knowing that you just kind of know, like, this person really, I connect with them and I feel like I could have a good relationship with them. Pursue that. Begin to plant seeds in that and see where it goes. That's all you can do. Just kind of see where it goes. You can choose the people in your life. And that's what's really cool, is you can actually pick those people. So just take a look at the people you spend the most time with and evaluate those relationships and whether or not they're going to serve you where you're going. And that's what I had for you in today's video. I hope this was helpful. If it was, I want to invite you to give it a like, give it a thumbs up, and check out the description below as well, because I'm going to be putting links and information down there that I think is going to be helpful for your growth as well. So that's what I have for you in this video, and I will chat with you again in the next one.